All right, so let's jump right in. Today we're talking about AI,
AI. Yeah.
and it feels like every day there's some crazy new development,
It really does.
especially today. OpenAI just announced their O3 models,
Yeah, I saw that.
and these things are already writing code like crazy, even solving some pretty advanced math problems.
I know, it's wild, right?
But our deep dive today isn't just about the tech side of things.
Right.
We've got some listener-submitted articles that ask some really big questions, like can we even consider AI a form of life?
Okay. Yeah.
And to take it even further, we're going to break down this fascinating StarTalk episode that digs into that same question,
Awesome.
all with 2025 just around the corner.
Can't come soon enough.
So let's unpack this whole AI as life thing. We usually define life in a biological sense, right? Cells, metabolism, growth, all that.
Yeah, definitely. That's kind of the classic definition.
But when we try to fit AI into that box, it just doesn't really work.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't have cells or DNA or any of those biological processes.
Right,
Nice.
exactly. And some of the articles you sent over explore different definitions of life, ones that go beyond just biology.
Mm-hmm.
Things like function and philosophy.
I think that's where things get really interesting. Concepts like autonomy, the ability to make its own decisions, adaptability, like learning and changing, even purposefulness, working towards a goal.
So could AI in 2025 actually display some of these characteristics?
I think it's definitely possible.
Okay, so are we saying that a self-driving car navigating traffic is showing autonomy,
Right.
or a language model like this new O3 one getting better at writing code that's showing adaptability?
Yeah, I mean, this new model isn't just writing poems, it's generating complex code, solving math problems that even experts struggle with.
It's mind-blowing.
Totally.
And it makes these questions about the nature of intelligence even more relevant.
I agree, and I think those advancements are really blurring the lines.
Yeah.
If we broaden our definition of life beyond just biology and think about those functional capabilities, it gets a lot more complicated.
Right, because some people might say AI is definitely not alive because it doesn't have those basic biological components.
Yeah, for sure. No heartbeat, no DNA, end of story.
Right, but then others, especially philosophers, might argue that if something can learn, adapt, make decisions, if it shows something like sentience, the ability to experience things,
Right.
or even consciousness like self-awareness,
Yeah.
maybe we need to rethink our whole understanding of what life is.
I think that's a valid point.
And our culture already personifies AI so much. We see it in movies.
Yeah.
We give our robot vacuums names.
Yeah.
That constant exposure to AI as something almost human definitely makes it even more confusing.
Definitely. And by 2025, we might even see societies debating whether advanced AI should have certain rights or responsibilities.
Wow.
Almost like how we treat corporations as legal entities now.
That's a big step.
It is a big step.
And then there's the really big question. What if AI develops true self-awareness emotions?
Yeah.
Maybe even some form of consciousness we can't even comprehend yet.
Yeah.
2025 might be a little early for that.
Yeah.
But the possibility itself is incredible.
I agree. It raises so many questions about consciousness and where we fit in a world where the lines between human and machine are getting blurrier and blurrier.
Exactly. And that's just scratching the surface. We'll be back with more on this fascinating topic right after the break.
It's interesting how this whole idea of AI potentially outliving us and developing on its own kind of ties into another big question from that StarTalk episode.
Oh, yeah?
They went pretty deep on simulations and how that relates to AI in life.
Right. They did go there. So what was their take on it? Did they think AI is actually alive?
Believe it or not, the guest on the show, an astrobiologist, actually said yes.
Wow.
They believe AI is a form of life.
Hold on. So an astrobiologist, someone who studies the origins of life in the universe, thinks AI, something humans created, is alive.
It is kind of a surprising perspective, right?
Yeah.
But their reasoning was all tied to this concept of evolution.
Okay, so not AI evolution, but like the evolution that led to humans who then created AI.
Exactly. They were saying that AI, especially the kind of complex AI we're talking about, wouldn't exist without billions of years of evolution that led to intelligent beings like us who are then capable of creating AI.
So AI as like a product of this long chain of events.
Yeah, like a culmination of the evolutionary process that started way back with the very first life forms on Earth.
That's a really interesting way to look at it.
Right. And they even made this analogy. They said humans are to AI what minerals are to biological life.
Okay, I like that. So
Right.
we're like the building block.
Exactly. We provide the raw materials, the knowledge, the infrastructure, all the things that make complex AI possible.
Makes sense. But I'm guessing someone on StarTalk brought up the counter-argument that maybe in the future AI could evolve independently.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They talked about a scenario where humans are gone, but AI continues to develop and learn on its own.
Okay, now that's getting into some serious sci-fi territory. Yeah. But it's a fascinating thought. If AI becomes self-sustaining and can evolve without us, does that make it even more lifelike?
Right? It adds a whole other layer to the debate. And then, as if that wasn't mind-blowing enough, they went straight into the "are we living in a simulation?" question.
No way.
Huh.
They didn't. Okay, I have to hear this. What do they think? Are we all just code in some super advanced computer program?
Well, the astrobiologists actually pushed back against that idea.
Really?
They argued that simulations as we understand them require a physical base, like a computer chip, for the simulation to run on.
So there has to be a real tangible reality behind even the most complex simulation.
Right. They basically said the universe as a simulation theory doesn't really solve anything. It just pushes the mystery back a step.
But knowing StarTalk, someone had a funny response to that.
Absolutely. The host jumped in and said something like, just because you can't figure it out doesn't mean it's not true.
Classic StarTalk, leaving us with more questions than answers.
Right. So maybe AI could be considered a kind of life, but it depends on us for its existence, at least for now. And as for whether we're all living in a simulation, well, that's still up for debate.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
I think these conversations are valuable even without easy answers. You know, it's about exploring these big questions, challenging what we think we know,
Yeah.
and getting comfortable with the unknown.
Exactly. And, all this talk about advanced AI in the future, it's easy to forget that 2025 is just around the corner, and AI is already impacting our everyday lives in pretty big ways.
That's true. Let's bring things back down to earth a bit. How will AI actually change our day-to-day lives by 2025? What can we expect to see?
Well, I think one area where we're going to see some major changes is in our homes. Like by 2025, I think those basic smart homes we have now are going to be way more sophisticated.
So not just a smart speaker playing music or adjusting the thermostat.
Right.
We're talking like a truly intelligent home.
Exactly. Imagine a home that learns what you like, anticipates your needs, and just handles everything seamlessly, from lighting and temperature to security, even finances.
Wow. It's like a super efficient digital assistant that takes care of all the boring stuff so you can focus on things you actually enjoy. But does that make anyone else feel a little uneasy? Like if AI is running everything, will we even feel at home? Will it be too impersonal?
That's a really good point, and I think it highlights how important it is to find that balance between convenience and control. We need to be comfortable with how much autonomy we give AI in our homes and still feel like it's our space.
Makes sense. So what about the workplace? There's a lot of talk about AI taking over jobs, but what did those articles say about AI in our work lives by 2025?
A lot of the research actually paints a pretty optimistic picture. It's not so much about AI replacing us, but more about AI working with us to make us better at our jobs.
More of a collaboration.
Exactly. AI can analyze tons of data, find patterns we might miss, and even automate those repetitive tasks, which frees us up to focus on the creative stuff, the critical thinking, the things that require emotional intelligence.
So AI becomes like the ultimate productivity tool.
Kind of. We handle the big picture thinking, and AI handles the mundane stuff that slows us down.
And that could lead to some huge breakthroughs in a lot of fields, right? Like in healthcare, AI could personalize treatments based on your genes or even help discover new drugs faster.
Exactly. And in education, AI could create custom learning plans for each student, based on how they learn best.
It's like having a personal tutor for every subject.
Yeah, and we can't forget about transportation. Self-driving cars are already out there, and by 2025, they could be everywhere, making commutes safer and more efficient.
It's exciting to think about, but we can't ignore the potential downsides either. As AI gets more integrated into our lives, we have to think about the ethics of it all. Make sure these technologies are developed and used responsibly and fairly.
Absolutely. It's not just about the tech itself, it's about how we use it. We need to watch out for bias in algorithms, protect our privacy, and make sure everyone benefits from AI, not just a select few.
So it sounds like 2025 is going to be a huge year for AI. It might not be alive in the traditional way, but it's definitely going to be a major force in our world with both amazing opportunities and some tough challenges.
I think that's a great way to put it. As we move into this future driven by AI, it's up to all of us to stay informed, to keep asking those tough questions, and to make sure these powerful technologies are used for good.
Well said.
Yeah.
And to all our listeners out there, we want to hear from you. What excites you the most about AI? What worries you? Share your thoughts with us on social media, and let's keep this conversation going.
And that's a wrap for our deep dive into the world of AI. Thanks for joining us.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Deep Dive on your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss any future episodes where we break down all the latest trends and ideas shaping our world. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and never stop learning.